Hello and welcome to Simudan and welcome to my Train Simulator World free review. Now before we get started, I just need to let you know about a competition that is currently happening. You can win a game of your choice on Steam, any simulator of your choice on Steam I should say, for up to the value of £50. All you have to do is stick around to the end of this video to find out more. Now, let's get into this. This is all recorded on Xbox Series X, so let's see what happens. So just a quick note, when I first started the game, I realised that I didn't actually have all the routes I anticipated. I only had the training centre. So this is all a review based from the training centre, and let's go through to the first tutorial. So I loaded in, and there are 4 basic tutorials. The first one is navigation and interaction, which is basically the look up, down, look all around situation, and then a quick run and a jog. And I found that as I had my little run and a jog, that actually by default it runs. It doesn't walk by default. I went into the settings menu to see whether you could change that around. Actually, I was quite happy with the fact that it was run, not walk, but I tried to change it around in the settings to no avail. I couldn't find the setting anywhere. Maybe it's in there, maybe I missed it, who knows, but I couldn't find it. So then I carried on, and it had me run straight up to a collectible, a map. In this case, my least favourite part of all these games. But there you go, they're there. You can go and collect your maps and broken fences to your heart's content for those completionists out there. So from there it took me into the main building, and I didn't realise this at the time, but looking back at the recording now, the doors, the automatic doors actually opened. And even better, you can sit down on static seats. Not the ones on the trains, but static seats. And this is a theme that carries on as well. I tested as we went through, and there were a lot of other areas that I could sit down on seats, on platforms and other things like that. So yeah, all of this seems like a real positive in my book. From the chairs, I was then taken upstairs to this massive glass window where it overlooked the sidings, which looked as if it should have been a spectacular sight packed for the trains. I got one. Now, I since found out my problem and fixed it. And here is what it looks like with all 3 packs installed. The problem, by the way, was that I needed to go back through to the Xbox settings and install the various packs separately. So from the view, I then was guided back down to find yet another map, and that was it. That was the end of that tutorial. So we move on. Screen Elements was the name of the next tutorial. And the first thing I noticed when it opened up was I was now looking at the HUD, and it looks much the same as it did before. Not really anything that I can notice that is different at all.
Climb up the ladder into the locomotive and then sit in the seat,
Was my next instruction. So naturally, I followed my orders. Because what else is a man to do? For some strange reason, it wouldn't let me close the doors behind me. But as I did finally take my seat, I noticed again the HUD. It looks the same as before. Nothing new, nothing original, at least not that I can tell. I was then taken through the usual system that they take you through in these tutorials, where they fade it to black, or fade the screen down a bit at least, and then just highlight little parts of the HUD. And you know, I went through merrily, hitting A as I went, or in case of PC, E as you go. You know, I think my biggest issue with this tutorial is it just seemed Pointless. It seemed like this tutorial could have easily fitted into the one before it, or even the one after it. Which leads me on to our next topic. Moving a train! Now, this one went down pretty much as I expected. Nothing overly new, nothing spectacular. However, there was a little bit more talk than I am used to about the brake pressures and traction power and things like that, which was a nice little touch, a little bit more scientific, maybe, for those that are really into like the science behind the trains. Yeah, I think that's quite good. It's maybe not overly in depth, but it's in depth enough to be noticeable.
Keep the brake control and release until you can see the brake pipe control needles are reading 5 bar, pointing upwards. Watch the brake cylinder, or BC gauge, to see it gradually reduce to 0, which tells you that the brakes are now fully released and you can move the train.
So after moving the train a short distance, not really noticing anything brand new to me, all sounded the same, all looked fine, it was just so. Then I finally got to the next and final tutorial, which was changing paths. So I loaded in, and this was a tutorial all about navigating the map and operating junctions and all that sort of jazz. And the first thing it had me do was walk up to a crossing and change it manually. Nothing new, we could do this in Train Sim World 2 and I think even Train Sim World 1. It then wanted me to pointlessly flick it backwards and forwards a few more times.
Let's head over to the train, and then we can look at the map,
said the woman. And of course, we all know we could look at the map on foot anyway, but still, I did as I was dutifully told and proceeded to the train. And this time, to my astonishment, the doors actually closed. So I took my seat and opened up the map like I was told and had to set all the different points for a predetermined route that it wanted me to do. It's all well and good, good lesson for those new to the Train Sim World franchise. But it's exactly the same as we've seen before in the old Train Sim Worlds. Again, nothing seems to have changed here. And after I'd faffed around with a few points here and there, I then had to move the train. And now I forgot to release my brakes because I'm quite used to the single throttle brake system. And as a result, or at least as I thought as a result, it ran through all the directions from the moving train tutorial that I've just done.
Apply some throttle to get the train moving.
So at the end, I hit the restart button and went through the whole thing again and got to exactly the same point and moved the train, and lo and behold, I got the same tutorial again, even though I did everything perfectly.
Apply some throttle to get the train moving.
So I rage quit and I went back to the main menu, which is split into to the trains, training centre, and what I like to call the adverts. And from there you can, it's quite good. To the trains will take you to pretty much anywhere. You can go by the route or by the train. That's new, and actually I like it. Takes a bit of getting used to, but I like it. And then the training centre is literally anything that you can do in the training centre. So I decided to open the training centre back up, but this time in an on-foot timetable mode, which I started from a point called Metro South. There's plenty of places on the map to start from, but I went Metro South. And from there, this is what I saw. Loaded into this little station. It was okay, nice little car park, not much else going on, single track. and these benches took my eye, and they actually have nice, like really nice wooden detailing. And I'm not sure in previous iterations of the simulator you actually had like as much detailing in the wood and stuff like that. And of course, I tried it. You can sit on these benches too. It seems like any bench, you can sit on it. I sat there for a while and sort of just genuinely just left my camera like this for a while, just admiring the foliage on the other side. And I noticed there's a heck of a lot more, at least I think there is, a lot more trees and things than I'd ever seen before in Train Simulator World. And the only thing that I had to say about them that was bad was that the shadowing of these trees just looked a little bit off to me, but that might have just been my capture card setup. I don't know. Let me know if you can come to the same place, have a look, and let me know yourselves. So carried on, and I decided, right, well, let's try and walk a little further away from the rails, shall we? How far can you get? I mean, I know it's a loop. Let's go inward to the loop and see how far I can get. The answer, by the way, was as far as the nearest road. I then observed some more trees. I was captivated by trees for some reason. I can't really explain it. But this road, that road there, I could get over that one. I have no idea of what is going on. But for some reason, some of them I'm able to go through, some I'm not. This water effect, absolutely stunning, the way the mountains reflected off of it. And I decided I'd go for a little wander around this pond, and I noticed that there's a bit of a weird visual effect, like a blur from the shadow of the trees in the water. Again, could be my capture card, but I'm not so certain. It just seems a little bit odd. And just FYI, this is on the opposite side of the lake to the rail track. So you could go round the far side of this lake. I explored for a little while longer and then came back to the track and found this bus stop next to the track. Of course, there was a map to collect, so I did that, and then I tested the seat. You could sit on the seat of the bus stop. It's not even at a train station, it's not in a predestined area that they intended you necessarily to be at. It's just a seat in the world, and you could sit on it. So this brings me to my final verdict. So overall, I actually, on this short venture, thought that Train Simulator World 3 actually had a lot going for it. The training centre is definitely a nice addition. It's definitely better than having every single route take you through the same steps over and over again. And it's going to be a really good area for those new to the Train Sim World franchise. Without a doubt, the graphics have been improved in this iteration as to Train Simulator World 2. And the small little touches that they've added, like the automatic doors that opened at the training centre sort of building, and the ability to actually sit down on static benches, they are all top notch, and I'm really appreciative of those being in this simulator. However, most of these features still, to me at least, feel like they're an update rather than a brand new game. Yes, the training centre and the tutorials that come with it would have been difficult to integrate, so I kind of get the need for this to be in a brand new game, but you know, maybe that could wait until they had several features under their belt, who knows. And yeah, the graphics updates, they're great, but I've seen a lot of games that have had graphics updates and sort of more polish sort of added in, and they've done that in an update instead of in a brand new game. And not only that, I feel like the graphics in Train Sim World 3 maybe should have a little bit more polish on them. I still don't think they've got it quite there to where they really wanted to be. I'm also convinced that the nice features like sitting on static benches are something that could have been latched on as an update too. Like, yeah, okay, it would have taken them a bit of work, and I get that you've had to go through every single bench asset in the game, but, you know, going through route by route, one at a time, just like they did with the live timetables, you know, it wouldn't hurt, would it? It could have been an update rather than a brand new game. So the big question is it worth the asking price? Well, I guess that kind of depends on the routes, and it's those that I'm going to explore in later videos. So stick around and hit that subscribe button and the bell notification button to see those videos. And as promised, the competition. So all you have to do is head to my Discord, linked in the description below. There you'll find a competitions channel. Go into there and simply tell me which simulator it is you would want and why. That's all there is to it. If you win, you get £50 or anything up to the value of £50 on Steam in the simulation category. This could even be a DLC if you wanted it. So until next time, thank you for sticking around with me. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.